Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. In today's podcast, I have a very interesting young gentleman who has a lot to talk about because he's an artist. His name is Demetrius Hill, and I am very interested to know more about who you are and where you started and where you're going. How about that? Good morning, Demetrius.
Good morning. Um, yeah, so who I am, pretty much, I am a young man, a young aspiring entrepreneur, artist, as you said, singer, songwriter, uh, vocalist, and just a very, creative and gifted individual. I have really big dreams, goals, plans. I'm building a business mainly, with music, but I do teaching and coaching as well, mainly with music also. Um, and yeah, that's, a little bit about me in terms of like an introduction.
Yes. So, as a young child, how did you get attracted to do music? Actually, what drive you, or really resonate with you to go on that path? How did you get started? Were you young and you went to church, or because of the music your parents were listening, or what really, inspire you to do that?
Yeah, so pretty much, I mean, it was a part of my destiny. Um, it started, when I was like about 5 or 6. Um, my grandmother put me in church choir, and I was in that choir until like about 11. And I was back when I was in Texas because I'm originally from Texas. So then I moved over here to Southern California, San Bernardino, where I still am. Um, and I moved over there when I was 11. So, and then pretty much after then, like about a few years later, like I still really, really had like a big interest in music and really enjoyed it. And I would just be naturally inclined to like dance and do stuff like that. And just was really, passionate about it. So then like a few years, passed, and about like age 14, I believe, was like the second time that I had played the video game Guitar Hero. And it pretty much introduced me into like a whole new world of music, because before then all I knew was like mainstream, like, rap and R&B that was coming out like around that time, like around the mid and early 2000s. So once I played Guitar Hero, it opened up the world of rock music and like a bigger um, variety and kind of music to me. And I fell in love with it. I started doing research. I started looking up, diving into a whole bunch of different bands and musicians like Metallica, Joe Satriani, Jimi Hendrix, um, and a lot of like System of a Down, a lot of very well known um, and famous bands and such. And then pretty much that's when I was still in high school, and that's when I really like wanted to. At that time, I was like 14. I wanted to become a music producer, and that's what I had told my uncle and maybe like a few other people that had asked me like what I want to do in the future, as an adult. So I told them that. Um, and
What
then
was it?
fast
What
forward. Oh,
what was their response when you said that?
yeah. So my uncle, his response was, he said that like, okay, well, music producers, they have to be disciplined. Um, they have to be focused, and he said like some other things, but like the conversation was more so about my grades at the time. So I don't really remember everything he said.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I just only remember like those two things, and then a whole bunch of other stuff about um,
Keep your
things that
grades
had to
up.
do with me getting through high school.
Exactly. Yes. Get the education, and you can become who you want to become at the end, but get the education so at least you get the foundation and how to do it, because even being a producer, you still need to learn how to run a business in the background as well too. It's not only, doing what they love to do, but there is more to it. So nobody discouraged you to at that point to just say, no, you should not be doing this, or were they supportive of your dreams?
So not at that age. It wasn't until like a couple years later, when I started rapping. Like when I was about 16, it was
Yeah.
like about 2 years later. And yeah, when I started that, I started like recording. And it was just like little like home stuff, and just me, um, you know, being like a little creative and, just messing around, recording stuff like off of my phone, and posting it, posting things online on social media. And also I kind of skipped over another point, that like when I was like 15, this is like kind of like all around, I guess, like the same time frame, like when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So also when I was 15, I discovered my gift for writing. I was like in the middle of a chemistry class, and I was extremely bored and didn't care about what the teacher was teaching and going over. So I just, decided to start writing. And then like I wrote my first poem, and I posted it online on my Facebook, and people really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept writing after that, kept posting stuff, and like people were like not believing that I was the one that was writing this stuff. Like they liked it that much. Um, so yeah, so then it kind of just led up to yeah, like I said, when I was 16, when I started rapping. And then when I started rapping, that's when I kind of had people, some people tell me that I was whack, and tell me that I'm not gonna make it. And then like I tried, I started, attempted to start singing around that time, and it's kind of like more of the same thing. People tell me like, this ain't really good. I don't know about this. Like you're like this is whack. So I definitely went through my fair share of discouragement and naysayers.
Well, that's how business are being run and built. It's based on the struggle, based on, living the dream and continue to move forward, even though some people will be discouraging, but it's really show what you're made of. Because if you're only a dreamer and you don't do it, well, it's easy at the first sign of challenges that you just step back and just say, I'm not going to do that. But obviously, you did not. People heard your voice and realized what you were capable to do. So that must have been encouraging as well when you started it, and just to see what people reaction would be, and see you were capable to do that. Because it's easy to say I'm going to do this, and at the end of the day, if you cannot deliver or show what you're able to do, it's discouraging. But it's nice to see that you were able to do something at the age of 16 and really starting to show the direction where you wanted to go and really embraced it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what happened after that down the road? Meaning, so you're starting to do, you discover different way to, well, you open yourself up actually to different genre of music. So did you started to mix all of this together, or did you get inspired to do your own, I would say, arts? What did you do with all of the things that were opening to you in regard of genre music? And do you write did you started to write your own songs?
Yeah. So I pretty much have always written my own songs. Um, Back then, like I said, like when I first started recording, it was just really rap songs. I didn't really write any songs that like I would sing. Um, so yeah, I kind of just pretty much like experimented with that. Um, try different things, and was trying to kind of like be creative and test certain things out. Um, and like it pretty much kind of like
Experimenting.
yeah, like, and it kind of went through like a little bit of evolution, I guess you could say, over time. Like after like about a couple of years, when I was like 19,
Mm-hmm.
um, I got to a point to where I was recording like in a basement studio. Um, but I had got like a couple like really good songs from there, especially one of them. That one of them that was received by everybody, very well. Um, and everybody, pretty much really loved it. Um, but like about that year 2015, that's when I had stopped rapping, and I kind of like stopped recording music altogether for like I think like a few years, and I didn't really come back to recording again until about like 2 years ago, like 2020. But during that in between time, I was still doing things when it comes to music. Like I went to college for a year and took music classes as like a major. So I learned like music theory, a little bit of piano, um, and then I continued to dive more into different kinds of music, listening and expressing myself, dancing. Um I made like a lot of like dance videos online. They're still like some of them are still on my Instagram and on
Cool.
a TikTok. So like I always like the it's pretty much music is my purpose. So it was always, calling me and I was always working within it in some way, shape, or form. But as I said, I didn't return back to actually getting into recording and writing songs again until like 2 years ago in 2020.
What made you go back and doing it? Or what made you stop? I should
Um,
ask
what, what made me
first.
stop was when it came to the rap, I just didn't really see myself at that time. I just didn't really see myself as it really like getting like where I wanted to be and like um taking off, I guess. Um, so I guess I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain because I was just in a in a certain state of mind at that time. But I don't know. I guess I just lost like the drive to continue to specifically continue rapping and writing rap songs. Um, but and then what made me come back to it in 2020 was just the fact that like my life and the direction that I was headed in, I just felt that I just really like honestly, I really believe that like I believe in God and I believe that he was communicating, to me that I need to, you know, really get back into the music pretty much. Because like I said, I believe that that's my purpose. So it was, I was going through like a lot of really bad like anxiety and mental, struggles during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also thinking about, going into fields of work that are not good and
Yeah.
that are, frankly, immoral.
Yeah.
So, um, so I just felt I just felt like God was communicating to me that I need to get back on the path that, he wants me to be on. So that's pretty much what caused me to get back into music.
That's
And
awesome. That's called being challenged by the universe and making the right choices. And sometimes we go to different paths that might not be good for us, but if we have a choice, we always have our own free will to decide to go back where it's the right path for us or continue in the wrong path that sooner or later we'll be reminded that was the wrong move. So it's nice to see that you were able to go back to write, to go back to the first love you have. I think it's awesome. So have you produced any what do you call it? I'm going to use the word CDs, but have you released any album or anything like that?
yeah, so I released an EP last year in December. I think it was like December 3rd. I
Okay.
released an EP with about like 6 songs. Um, the most two best performance songs are "Life Is Beautiful" and heartbreak. And then also I'm releasing my first debut album coming up September 2nd.
Nice. Do you have a title for this one?
Yes, it's well, it's going to be I'm making a trilogy. So the first
Oh,
one
nice.
was called From Me to You, and now
Mm-hmm.
this year is called From Me to You Too.
Oh, nice. I love it. And where is people can find your album, the album you released last year, and the next one? Where is people can go
Yeah,
to?
so pretty much just go on like whatever streaming platform that you use, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc., and just type in September's Passion, September as in the month, apostrophe S at the end, and then the word passion. And you'll find pretty much all my music, and I also have a website, so you can also go to septemberspassion.com.
Okay, that would be awesome. I love it. So, in the path you have taken, what have you learned about you?
Well, that's interesting because I've never had nobody ask me that.
Oh, trust me, I do have interesting questions. Because we want to know, when people are listening to my podcast, they want to know who you are. So they want to connect with you. So they understand better who you are and understand your music and really connect with you. So that's why I'm asking those questions.
Whatever I learned about myself on this
Yeah.
path.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, I mean, I've learned a lot about myself. Like, I'm extremely self-aware. Um, I'm naturally like an introvert and a deep thinker. So I kind of, I'm like in my head a lot.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I've learned by myself, um, I guess like I've just learned that I'm capable of, you know, I guess a lot more than I would have ever thought that I, would be. And because like, God has like, I believe God has blessed me with like a lot of gifts, because I can do like a lot of things and, do them good. Like I'm a fast learner. Um, like it's, for me, uh, gaining information and learning new knowledge and research like is, very easy for me, and it just comes natural. And I'm just like, I guess the number one thing I would say though is that, I've always naturally been very inspirational to people. Cause like even when I did like used to rap like years ago when I was younger, um, I didn't really, think that I was all that great. Um, and sometimes like I wouldn't even try that hard, but then like, people would see me, go up and perform and do something. And they would just tell me, that I inspired them to go up and do something as well. So that's like I think the number one thing I could say I've learned from myself is that like I'm just naturally, very, very inspiring to people.
That's awesome. So you mentioned to me you wanted to teach as well. You wanted to mentor people. So how far are you with these projects?
I'm at a pretty good start. I actually have two people that I'm going to be working with today. I'm working with this one kid with music and other things, and then I got another new student that's a young rapper. So I'm going to be working with him, and then also I have a musician that I'm going to be working with tomorrow. He wants to uh, get his voice and singing back, and he's like very experienced. So yeah, it's I'm at a pretty good start.
That's awesome. That's great. So what do you want to be happening in the next few years for you, career wise, and how do you want to impact um, the rest of the world?
few years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Any years? Two,
man,
3, 4, 5, 10 years.
well, I mean, honestly, I had like a 20-year plan written down. I'm kind of having to write it out again because my previous notebook got stolen. But like I pretty much know I know it, pretty good. So like it's a lot of things, it's a lot of things over the course of the next 20 years that I want to do. Like I want to release about like 11 to 12 full, you know, studio albums. I want to make one or two movies, one of them based off of my life story, and I want the soundtrack to be um for the 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 third album that's in this trilogy that I'm in right now that I'm planning to uh finish and release next year. Um, I wanted to have a tour to go along with the trilogy. Um, by hopefully next year as well, like a touring and doing concerts and shows, performances. Um, and I want to have like one or two documentaries on like how I made the music, put it together, the struggle behind it, leading up to it, and um, like the whole process and everything. Um, I want to write like one or two or maybe more books over the time of my career. So it's some pretty big things that I want to do like over the next 20 years.
So make a list.
Say
Make a
again?
list. Make a list of what you want to do. Make a list and follow it. Follow through it. That's what you should be doing because you get ideas right now that you're saying, which is so powerful. But make the list to make it happen. Create a list, carrying it with you, and do one thing on that list every day to make it happen. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing crickets. It's like, what in the world are you? What are you talking about? But that's a goal. I interviewed somebody, and he's a very good friend of mine. Actually, his name is Kamahana, and he's in Hawaii. And I was sharing his story because his story was not a pretty one to start with. He was a drunk. He ended up in jail, and he almost spent years in jail, actually. And he realized that through the process of what he was waiting for sentencing and stuff like that, he realized that, you know what, he needs to change himself. And he made it a list because he wanted to go to school, he wanted to do this and that. And that list, actually, every day he looked at it and he did something with it. And at the end, he has several degrees and he wanted to go, and he could not believe he went to university where he wanted to go, but he finally he did it. But he had the list. I had what I call my groceries list as well, where I set things in motions and I write it down. So like you explained it so well, being able to do the documentary and maybe a training actually platform to help people and for them to show them how to do things because you are going through the process and people don't realize artists like everybody else is actually they go through a process to get it done, but a lot of people don't know how. So it would be a great guidance to have something available so the younger generation or the older one, whomever wants to do that, can have a base to learn from. That makes sense?
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. So what is your next projects? Because you're releasing it in September. Are you going to be performing? Because I know with the COVID-19, it was kind of a bummer for most artists to be able to do live shows. But are you planning to do live shows?
Yeah. So I pretty much have been performing since March. Um so like and I just performed like last week, or actually not last week, earlier this week, Monday. Um, and I might be performing tonight. Um, and these are kind of like smaller performances, like smaller venues, just at like local areas. Because I kind of like got back, I really got into consistently performing again in March. Um, so yeah, but I pretty much already have gotten back to it, and yeah, I plan to grow, more and more into bigger performances over time.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Have you ever thought about doing some performances live directly, on Facebook or using a live
Yeah,
stream to do that?
yeah. I've done some of them like that I still have available on my social media.
Okay, so people can see those through your social media. Perfect. What is your social media? Is it September Passion or
Yeah,
are you using your real name?
no, it's the same. September's Passion.
Okay. So for people who are interested to listen to the music and learn more about you, because I think it's fantastic, and it's great what you're doing. It's great what you're doing by helping other and mentoring people. Continue your writing and your music. Um, in the level of the instrument, I have to ask you that question because you mentioned you always been a writer, but when it comes down to doing music and playing instrument, have you learned this, or it was just the Guitar Heroes where got you all started with it? How did you learn instrument, if you do?
Um, yeah, so it pretty much did start um with the with Guitar Hero, and then like after that I had got like around that time I got an acoustic guitar and I was learning on it.
Mhm.
Um and and then I had also played drums a little bit, like at my grandmother's church. Um and I kind of had like a little bit, of experience with that. And then like in high school, about I think a little bit later in high school, I took a guitar class. So then I learned from that. That's actually when I came up with the intro arpeggio to Life is Beautiful. And yeah, so then I went from there, and then like piano, that's when I first started with that in college, when I took the year of college with music theory and musicianship, and you know studying those subjects, because that like the basis of it
Mhm.
come, you got to know some things about piano.
Yes.
So that's kind of like the origins of the instruments for me.
Wow. That's phenomenal because I found it so, interesting because a lot of artists can write and some can play music too, and some do both instrument. I should correct what I said. And it's amazing when you got the whole package, I think. And how is music come to you? Because I'm always curious. Okay, I do write, I do blogs, so I understand the writing. But when it comes down to music, how do you create that music? How is it coming to you? Is it from a song? Is it what? Because for me, I'm always fascinated on people how they create their own music. And like, I don't know. It's like a science project for me to like decipher that. Because for me, it's like, oh, I don't know if I could ever be able to have my own, create my own music because it seems, I don't know, complicated or impossible. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so for me, it can come in different ways. But it's usually always natural. Um, like one of the ways is just from learning. Like when I consistently learn, like an instrument or even just practicing, like it doesn't even have to be me playing an instrument. It could be me practicing singing, or doing some type of vocal warm ups or exercises or something. And like I don't know, like just over time, I'll start to hear something. I'll start to hear like the beginning of a new demo that could grow into like a full complete song. Um, and it's just like different creative ways. Like one of my songs, Like I was actually shooting the music video to Life is Beautiful, and I was outside with my guitar, and I was kind of just like, um strumming on the guitar, and just playing like random notes kind of, and I had came up with uh like a progression, like a very simple like progression, and it, very not too long after is it turned into like a full complete song. Like I just construct and build on top of like a very small, um sometimes rough, demo idea, like from a sound, and I just build and construct on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's like how you get started and how do you hear the entire music. It, to me, is amazing. I said people can write and know the notes, and some do it by ears. I did something, it's called the Journey to Saturn, and that was with Studio Gazers. And my friend who runs that studio doesn't know how to write it. Actually, he do it by sound, and it's freaking amazing to see how he's doing it. I'm always mind blowing by people who can do that, create by the sound and just go with it. And somehow the melody plays in their mind, in their brain, and it's just able to extract this to a form that is amazing. So I'm always amazed that I'm always amazed when I come across people who are able to do that. Because for me, it's like, oh my goodness, I wish I could do that too. But I don't, which is good actually. It's like singing, it's not for me. So I know that. But the music is beautiful. So that's fantastic. So, wow, that's awesome. So, a lot of projects coming before year end or after the release in September. Are you going to play that album, the songs you're releasing into live shows, or what are you going to do to promote this? And what is next afterward? Are you going to start on the other album for your trilogy for the last one? What is your plan?
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna be performing the songs, promoting them. Um, I've talked to like this one guy. You ever heard of Josh Stolberg? He's on the Owl app.
I probably did.
Yeah. Well, I talked to him. He's a film director, and
Okay.
we talked about like my music, and he wanted to, try to get it in a new movie that he's working on. Um, that I think he
Nice.
said is supposed to be coming out this year. Actually, like I think around the time that my album releases. So, that could be, one form of, promotion. Um, and I just talked to another individual yesterday. They're She's gonna be doing something with like on like video. I heard her reference the word like movie and casting. Um, but I don't remember like all the details. And it was kind of like just a quick thing like she had introduced to me. But she said that, I could like we could work to see if we can get my music featured on there. So then there's that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm already like, writing for like the next album, and kind of like work my way towards the ideas on, putting that together. Um, and yeah, like there's just, there's kind of like a lot of things.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things
No, that's
I'm
super
doing.
interesting. And by the way, if he's using your music and your song, is it something you already produce or is looking for something fresh? Meaning, I knew somebody over Europe actually a long time ago, it's like over 2 decades ago. That was and I didn't know actually. I discovered after I went in Paris and met him that he was writing music for series and stuff like that over there. So he explained to me how things were working, which was super interesting. But for you, the question I have for you is Did he wanted to use your current music, or did he wanted you to create something for that movie?
Um, no, it was from my current music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. That is super cool. That's awesome. Opening opportunities like that, I think it's phenomenal and it's great. And it's more to share to your story, to be able to do that. And, it seems like you have a fantastic journey ahead of you and great opportunities, which is inspiring for others who want to go into the business and feel like they have to sacrifice everything they're doing in order to get something out of it, in a sense of, do I have to sacrifice who I am to be part of the mainstream? Some people want to change who they are just to fit in, which I feel like with you, your authenticity is there. So you are who you are, and you're attracting the right people. People are coming to listen to your music. The messages are really authentic and resonate with people. And that makes a huge difference. What would you say to a young artist who want to start, and have the capability to sing? What would you say to them, in regards of, um, you know, not fitting in or being authentic, or, for their arts, for who they are, to stay authentic or something along those lines? Do you have any advice for those young artists?
Hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I would say that I would tell them to really like make the music that they really want to make, and that really tells their story, and that is really them, like really themselves, um and like just really uh not like try to copy anybody or try to be somebody that they're not, um and just be complete, real and honest, um, with, everything about it. Like, that's, how I am, when it comes to the writing, putting it together, uh, like, and the sounds and, the creativity. Like I make sure that it's all, true to myself, and like I'm not trying to please everybody. Um, and yeah, I mean that's like the main thing I could think to say as of right now, is for them to just really believe, really believe, in themselves and in their gift, their talent, um, and make sure that it's what they really want to do, and it's not like something that somebody else wants to, like, sounds, or ideas and writing that somebody else wants them to do.
Exactly. It's to stay authentic. The problem I see as well is the entourage, the people around you, because they can be influenced. There's maybe some stuff you don't want to do, but you're being influenced by people who are telling you what to do as well. So that makes it a little bit, more challenging as well. So as you were developing your skills, did you have somebody to manage you, or how did you do that?
Um, I just really just stay focused, just like as I'm still continuing to do now. Just stay focused, stay committed, stay consistent, and like and really just stay strong within my faith, in what I'm doing, in my dreams, and in God. you know um that's pretty much like how I'm how I've made the progress that I've made up to this point. And what I would say also for young artists in terms of, like, you were saying, like, the influence is, like, they have to be willing to say no, to the wrong people and to the wrong environments and the wrong decisions. They have to be willing to say no and say yes, to the right things, that can help them be able to get to where they want to achieve their goals and make really good progress.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it takes, when you're young, you might not have that capability to have the awareness. And, you could listen to your parents, you can listen to whomever is on the front of you. That makes it a little bit more challenging. But if they're capable, at the beginning, they might not be able to be or say anything, but later on should be able to really break free. Because the problem with when you're looking at mainstream music, people want to reproduce who others are doing, which to me is like, no, we all are different people. We have different style. So we should be able to express that in a way that is still positive, but it's our way. It's our own way, staying authentic. So I think it's the hardest part when it comes down to being an artist. Because if the trend is somebody's sing that way, so everybody's going to do the same thing. I'm like, well, okay, that's nice, but that's boring. After 5 minutes, when you hear different artists who are singing the same way, it's like, no, I don't want this kind of music. I want something that is a little bit deeper. I want somebody who's a little bit more authentic that I can connect with, not feeling that, some of them you're not going to connect with because it doesn't feel authentic when they're singing. So it's nice, to have you today to explain a little bit more and reveal it more behind the scenes of the music, but also your story, because it's an amazing story and it's still, unfolding, which is awesome. And I would say that the goals, the dreams you have are extremely reachable because you set everything in motion, and it looks like you're on your way, and it's going to be awesome. So it looks like they have several opportunities coming to you, which is fantastic.
Yes, definitely is great.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So if people want to connect with you, where do they go to connect with you? And on with social media as well, because I think that will help.
Yeah. So yeah, if they want to connect with me, they can go on any of my social medias. Like I said, they're all under the same thing, September's Passion, everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and they can also go on my website. And then also like my direct information is on my website, like, my number and my email. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. So I will provide that information as well into the what do you call it? Uh the little verbiage I put every single one of my podcasts, so people will see it into the details of who I'm talking to and how to connect with you. So are you gonna do a pre-release? Are you gonna let know people, and if people go on social media and follow you for the second album, are you letting them know ahead when it's gonna be released? Are you gonna do a teaser about it?
Pretty much, yeah. So like, cause for right now, for this one, I'm kind of doing that a little bit, I guess you could say, like a pre-order, um
Yeah.
where you could also uh like especially on my website, you can kind of like hear like a preview, like snippets of the songs, and then I have like a few singles from it that people can listen to, like the entire songs. It's gonna be like 10 songs in total, and there's like three uh singles from it that are out right now available, so they can go on my website or on Bandcamp and find those. And then as time kind of goes by, I'll probably like put more stuff, leading up to it, to I
Yeah,
guess
that's
for
that's
anticipation,
awesome.
all of that.
That's and are you gonna do a live show for the day of the release so people can hear you live, or what are you planning to do something along those lines?
Yeah, probably like maybe a listening party or something like that. Um and and probably also, yeah, like around like during that month, September, I'll probably be doing like a lot of shows specifically catered, to that.
Nice. Oh, that's fantastic. This is so great. I am so glad I had you today on my podcast because it's going to help younger or older artists or people who wants to be in a business or just sing and having a more I will said more as an eye opener on how you have done that. And for people who would like to look at becoming a singer, to be able to have somebody they can connect with because you are a mentor in the same time and help others. So if they can connect with you, that would be awesome because it's going to help them too. That's the goal. So I think it's awesome. And what you're preparing, not only for this album and the next one, but the fact that you want to really look at becoming a producer and mentor, which I think is the key, and being able to provide some training for others. I think it's a huge, huge key as well. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great things you're doing.
Yes. It's all about purpose.
Thank you. It's all about purpose. I love what you just said because a lot of producers or people who are very well known are not giving opportunities for the younger generation, or you have to be very good to explore the possibilities to become a singer and learn the ropes. Because I think the hardest part is to learn the ropes.
Yeah. Yeah. But everybody has to learn.
I know, but if you have somebody who can explain that and what it consists of based on your story, it will make a huge difference on people because some embark in that journey not understanding everything. And you have gone through that journey as a writer, as a songwriter as well. And you have gone through your own journey. You have learned and you have made a choice on the way you want to conduct your life. And a lot of people, when they see the shiny object, when they see the lights, they think that, it's all an illusion at the end of the day. It's a job, quote unquote. It's a purpose, but it's not who you are. Because when the lights go off, then it's yourself you're with. And that's the hardest part, I think, for people when they start to be more recognizable. And I don't want to use the word famous, but I'm going to use it for a minute, that, people treat them a different way. And it's very difficult for some people to really grasp that reality is different than being an artist. And it comes with, because you're a public figure, with more responsibilities on how you conduct yourself as well. Because there is more scrutiny that comes with it. You know that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. So, and I think a lot of people don't even think that deep when they go there. And, yes, you get open and the restaurant open, you can go to nightclub, you can do this and that, but it still comes with responsibilities because you got fans, you got people who are looking at you as a reference. So I don't say you have to become a saint, but everything you do is scrutinized. Yeah. So, and giving back, I think, to the community like you're doing and helping out there, I think it's a very good thing. So, no, it was a pleasure to have you today on my podcast to share your story and your inspiration. And I will highly recommend people to check back on your social media for September's Passion and connecting with you on website to see what your album and who you truly are and really listen to your music. So that's what I encourage people to do. Do you have thoughts you would like to share with everybody before we close the show?
Yeah, I guess I would just say that, for everybody to really to discover and, figure out what their gift is, and their passion, and to pretty much, go after it, become inspired, and, figure out what their purpose is, and, commit themselves to it and fulfill their purpose. And that's all I have to say.
But thank you for sharing that because to me it's very important what you're saying, and I know people are going to be inspired in listening to this podcast, and for the young artist or the older one to just embrace who they truly are and really follow their dreams. So thank you so much for being part of my podcast, Demetrius. It was an absolutely pleasure to have you, and I will keep a tap on you and see how you're doing. No, we'll probably in the near future have another episodes to see, probably at year end, to see how you're doing with all of your projects and see what else you're doing as well.
Yeah, sure. Sounds great. Looking forward to it. And thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Emma's Universe Podcast.